Welcome back to the news of the week, hosted right here on the Evo India YouTube channel every single Friday. I'm Atish Mishra, Assistant Editor at Evo India, and I'm going to walk you through all of the automotive news updates from the last week. The big update is obviously the budget. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has presented the new budget, and there's a lot in there for the automotive industry and the automotive market. I'll walk you through all of the updates and also tell you how it affects you and me. We'll also talk about the new launches this week. That includes the Toyota Hyryder CNG, the BMW X1, and also the fact that bookings for the Toyota Innova Crysta are now open again. Globally, there have been a couple of cool unveils. The Mercedes-Benz GLE has been unveiled, as well as a new concept from Audi. Before we dive into things, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the Evo India channel, and leave a comment down below. I'd love to know what you think of this year's budget. Right, first up, the union budget. In the automotive context, the focus has been on green mobility and on local manufacturing. First up, there is a removal of custom duties on specific goods and machinery related to the manufacturing of lithium-ion cells. This is significant as it will bring down the cost of battery electric vehicles, allowing them to get accepted in our market much quicker. Custom duties on the lithium-ion batteries themselves are lowered as well. They're down to 13%. Earlier, they were at 21%. In the same breath, imported cars have gotten more expensive. Custom duties on CBUs has been hiked from 60% to now 70%. However, EVs will be affected by this. EVs that come in as CBUs will again have a custom duty of 70% attached to them. EVs that come in as SKDs are going to be a little more expensive too, as the custom duties on them are increasing to 35% from 30%. Meanwhile, 19,700 crores has been allocated by the government towards the production of green hydrogen, and funds have been allocated to scrapping old cars by the central government, and they've said that states will be supported in this endeavor as well. So for those of you looking to get a new luxury car, this may not be welcome news, but the industry has received the updates from the union budget positively. There has been a focus on increasing the disposable income of Indians, and that should see an increased demand for automobiles. Now let's look at the launches over the last week. First up, Toyota has announced that bookings for the Innova Crysta diesel are now open. Mind you, this is only available with the diesel engine, and it will be sold alongside the Innova Hycross that has the petrol and the petrol hybrid drivetrains. There are mild updates to the exteriors of the Innova Crysta. It's almost like a small facelift, but really there are no significant changes to the car. The Crysta, it will be sold with a 2.4-litre turbo diesel engine, and it will come exclusively mated to a 5-speed manual transmission. Prices for this new Innova Crysta or this updated Innova Crysta diesel are not out yet, but you can expect them to be announced sometime in February. Toyota has also announced prices for the urban cruiser Hyryder CNG. Now, the CNG, it's available only in two variants, the S and the G, and it costs rupees 13.25 lakhs for the S variant. The G is 15.29 lakhs. This makes the CNG variants of the Hyryder around 95,000 rupees more expensive than their petrol counterparts. Visually, there are really no changes to the Hyryder, and you can't tell it apart from the petrol variant. But under the hood is that K15C engine from Maruti Suzuki, the same one that does duty in the Ertiga CNG and the XL6 CNG. It makes 103 bhp and 136 Nm of torque in the petrol mode, and if you switch it over to CNG mode, it makes 88 bhp and 121.5 Nm of torque. Here's a cool fact. The Hyryder CNG is now the most expensive CNG car sold in the country today. Another launch for the Indian market in the last week is the new generation X1. Now, this is a completely new generation of the X1. It is not a facelift, and that shows in terms of its dimensions. It's bigger in every way, so it's longer, wider, taller, and it even has a 22 mm longer wheelbase. Now, the design of this new X1, I'd say it isn't as polarizing as some of the other BMWs launched in the recent past. It actually looks quite good. There's an angular thing going on with the grille, with the headlamps, and it actually looks really fresh. It's not radically different from the older X1, but it's all the better for it. On the inside, you get a digital instrument cluster, you get a 10.7-inch touchscreen infotainment system, there's dual zone AC, and you also get a 12-speaker Harman Kardon sound system. Now, the X1, it comes with two drivetrain options. You've got a petrol and you've got a diesel. The petrol is badged the S-Drive 18i, and that makes 134 bhp and 230 Nm of torque. Comes mated to a DCT transmission. The second engine, that's a little more punchy. It makes 148 bhp. This is the diesel, mind you, 148 bhp and 360 Nm of torque. And the diesel, it comes standard with the M Sport kit with sportier styling. The petrol variant is priced at rupees 45.9 lakhs ex-showroom, and the diesel is rupees 47.9 lakhs ex-showroom. On the absolute other end of the BMW spectrum is the M3 CS, the M3 Competition Sport. Basically, it inherits the engine from the M4 CSL, increasing power over the already launched M3 Competition by 39 bhp, taking the total power output to 542 bhp. But it's more than just a power increase. The M3 CS is lighter, it has chassis updates, it has steering updates, there's a lot of stuff going on. Firstly, the engine mounts, they are stiffer, and that allows it to run a more aggressive gearbox mapping. It is lighter by 20 kgs as well, and that's thanks to a carbon fiber bonnet. The center console is lighter and it gets a titanium silencer. 0 to 100 times, that comes up in 3.4 seconds, making it the fastest of the G80 cars from BMW. Changes to the chassis, they include new damper rates, bespoke anti-roll bars, and tweaks to the power steering system. All of it to make it handle better, obviously. Mercedes-Benz has announced an update to the GLE SUV as well, and it's got the regular facelift update. So you've got new headlights, you've got a new bumper, new wheels, new taillight signatures, all the usual facelift stuff. On the inside, you've got a new steering wheel inherited from the S-Class, and you've got a new software for the infotainment system. The most significant update though is to the drivetrain. All of the petrol powertrains, diesel powertrains, they now get a mild hybrid system. So the GLE 300D, that makes 265 bhp and 550 Nm of torque. The 450D, that's a new variant. It gets the 3-litre diesel from the older 400D, and it makes 362 bhp and 750 Nm of torque. There's a GLE 450 as well with a petrol engine, and all of these variants, they get a mild hybrid system that adds efficiency as well as a little bit of performance. The new AMG versions have been showcased as well. There's a GLE 53 and a GLE 63, and the GLE along with its coupe have both been revealed to the world. It's very likely these cars will come to India. The GLE, it is a part of the Indian portfolio, and these updates will make it to India later this year. Audi has also showcased the Activesphere concept. Now, this is essentially a four-door coupe that's been jacked up and given a lot of SUV-like cues with a pickup-like rear end. Now, the roofline, it looks a lot like the RS7's roofline. But then you look at the jacked-up suspension, you look at the knobby tires on it, you look at the black cladding, and it's clearly its own thing. Interestingly, there's no boot at the back, but instead Audi's designed this cool mechanism where the glass slides open and you're left with a pickup truck-like boot section. Yes, it is an EV. It gets a 100 kilowatt-hour battery and two motors that put out 442 bhp and 720 Nm of torque. The concept, it's also fully autonomous, and it does this cool thing where when you hand over control to the car, the steering wheel actually tucks itself away out of sight, and all you're left with is a glass view. And then when you want to finally take control of the car again, the steering reappears from out of the dashboard. As for whether it'll go into production or not, we don't know just yet. It might just be a design study that showcases the design direction for future Audi models. Who knows? Now, one milestone that definitely deserves a mention is the fact that Maruti Suzuki has hit 25 million cars in cumulative sales. That's a record that no other car maker has touched or even come close to in the Indian market. Maruti Suzuki, they have been manufacturing cars since 1983, and it actually took them 23 years to sell their first 5 million cars. After that, the growth was exponential. The next 5 million came in just 6 years. In 2022, Maruti Suzuki sold 1.5 million cars alone. Onwards and upwards for Maruti Suzuki. On two wheels, Hero has launched a sporty looking scooter. It's called the Xoom with an X. The Xoom gets a 110.9cc engine. It's the same engine out of the Maestro Edge 110 or the Pleasure Plus. It's a single cylinder unit that churns out around 8 bhp, 8.7 Nm of torque. And what's cool is all of the variants of the Xoom are equipped with Hero's i3S start-stop technology. It's a cool looking scooter, and it's the first from Hero to get properly sporty styling. You get 12-inch wheels on the Xoom 110 instead of the 10-inch wheels that you find on the Maestro. The headline feature for the Xoom 110 though is the fact that the top-end ZX variant gets cornering lights, which is the first for any scooter in India. Prices for the Xoom 110 start at Rs 68,600. The mid-spec VX variant with cast alloy wheels will cost you 71,800 rupees, and the top-end ZX variant with those fancy cornering lights, they cost Rs 76,700 rupees. Now that's it for the news of the week. This week, I'm Atish Mishra signing off. Before you go, make sure you leave a comment down below. We'd love to hear from you about what you think of this format, what do you think we should be covering in the news every week, and I'll see you next week.